And now we come to the very end of Mark's story. This is the latter part of Mark 15 and then the whole of chapter 16. This is the risen Lord, because this is where it all leads to. This is where we've been going throughout the whole Gospel of Mark. And we know the story well. The women go to the tomb to anoint Jesus's body with those spices, the aromatic ointments. Very early on the first day of the week, just at sunrise, they went to the tomb. Of course, they have a problem. They're saying, well, who's going to move the stone away from the entrance to the tomb? It's been put there by some strong men. How are we women going to move it? And of course, when they get there, they see it's already rolled away. And when they go inside the tomb, they see a young man sitting on the right wearing a long white robe, and they're very frightened. Obviously, what is this? Who is this? What's going on? Doesn't specifically say it's an angel, but that's what we would assume at this point. Don't be frightened, he told them. You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, the one who was crucified. He is risen from the dead. He is not here. Look at where he was laid. And then comes what I think is one of the most interesting assignments in the whole of Scripture. Now go and tell his disciples and Peter that he's going ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there just as he told you. So who are the very first evangelists to go and spread the news of the risen Jesus? It's this group of women. How can you say women aren't part of ministry when right there in the beginning of what you would call the Christian era, it's women who take the good news and spread it to Jesus's own disciples? It's right there. They left, ran from the tomb, shaking and confused. They said nothing to anyone because they were too scared. When Jesus rose from the dead on the first day of the week, he appeared first of all to Mary, and then he goes on to talk about appearing to the two disciples who went to the countryside. We assume that's what Luke describes, and we call it the disciples on the road to Emmaus. And then he appears to the 11 disciples while they're eating. And that's when he gives them this command. Go to the whole world and announce the good news to everyone. Anyone who trusts in me and is baptized will be saved. But anyone who chooses not to trust will be condemned. And then there's a latter part of the gospel. Of course, as an aside, we might want to say there is a longer ending and a shorter ending to the Gospel of Mark. It seems that some of those early Christian scribes wanted to kind of complete the story a little bit and maybe added a few verses at the end. But that's not important. That's not really significant, because what do we have here? We have the resurrection. This is the end of the story. Mark has completed his assignment. He has made it very clear that Jesus, throughout his life and his death and now his resurrection, has represented God to us, to the whole world. Now the question is, what do you do with all of this? What is your decision now that you've read the story again? What does that impel us to do in terms of sharing the good news? I leave these thoughts as we conclude the Gospel of Mark. May you be blessed as you do so.